Hello everyone, my name is Derek and this is the Bourbon table. Today I've got another shelf tour of our second Buy-Rite in New Jersey, completely different Buy-Rite. There's several. I like them because they do a great job with bourbon and with picks and so on. So I've got another interesting one because this is actually a Buy-Rite that has relocated to a brand new facility, very close, right behind the road facility. It's gorgeous. It's the tale of two liquor stores, if you will, because they're not great because they're not fully moved in yet. They've got a lot of empty shelves. At the same time, they're great because they've got a lot of bourbon picks. They've got a lot of hard to find to get. They got some good prices, some interesting things. But I'm going to take you through it and you'll see that there's a lot of stuff. It's so new, not even everything is priced yet, which is interesting. So I'll have to come back and do another video, but I was so excited to see that they're in their new location that I decided to do a shelf tour and show you what they have now and give you an idea of what they're going to have. I'm super excited to see what that is. All right, let's jump in and I'll talk about this stuff as we get to it. So here's just a side entrance of the facility. You can see it's a now open sign. There's another space in that building that hasn't opened yet, so that's why that top sign isn't in there. And there we are. We're excited. Okay, we're excited that Super Buy-Rite is now open. There's the lovely and talented Laura, who has made an appearance on the video from time to time, if I can persuade her. And here's the case where I was able to persuade her. All right, so this is just a wine shelf in the Super Buy-Rite in Pennington, just to give you an idea of kind of the state that they were in when I was in there. I would say that this was maybe a little bit more than a week ago, so I'm sure they're more full right now. All right, let's get into the bourbon. So here we've got the end cap of their picks. This is always the place I go to first because I want to see what's new and exciting here. And we'll just go through shelf by shelf. There's something in here that I did pick up. See if you can guess along the way. So top shelf. This William Dalton and Lee W. Sinclair haven't heard of before. They look very interesting. The prices are pretty decent. A little bit higher than I would like to see to taste something, to buy something rather than haven't tasted. All right, moving across. I don't know what that is. Polydar, not sure what that is. Then you got a couple of Angel Envies. You can see at the bottom there the right selection. That is their store pick at $90 and $150. The first one is a single barrel. I can't tell which one either of those are. So I'm not going to try and guess, but we can find out what they are online. Next is going to be their pick for Penelope Architect, $65, which is a good price because the regular bottle is typically around that price. Next to that is Garrison Brothers single barrel, no price. As I said, some of this stuff you're going to see doesn't have any prices yet. I'll have to go back when they do. And then you've got next to that a couple of barrel bourbon store picks. The one on the right is a single barrel cask strength. It's an 11-year and it is 55 point something percent ABV. I'm a real big fan of barrels, so I'm sure both of those are really good. I've got a bunch, so I didn't pick those up. Next is a Stranahan single barrel. That gets a lot of rave reviews. I have that. I haven't tasted it yet, but $60 is a good price. And then you've got the Pinhook single barrel 9-year for $85. I have a 9-year. I'm not sure it's that one from Pinhook. I did enjoy it. Let me see if that's the one. I picked up that Pinhook at a previous visit when they were in their older location. $85. It's a nice pick, probably a little higher priced than I would like based on the flavor profile, but tasty nonetheless. Let's go down to the next shelf. You've got a Clyde Mays 5-year for $49.99. That's a good price. There is a Smoke Wagon Rye pick for $90. I've got that from another location, so I'm not sure how good this one is. There's an Old Scout. I actually got that earlier in 2024. I did a video on it. I think it was my second video or my third video ever. You can take a look. It's pretty raw, so go easy on the comments. Next is this Whistle Pig 10-year, $85. It's an interesting pick. I'm not super interested in Whistle Pig, and the 10-year is not getting incredible reviews. I guess they're getting mediocre reviews. Not horrible, but at $85, I wouldn't want that on my shelf. Next to that, you got the standard Whistle Pig Piggyback Rye, 6 years for $60. Then you get the Jack Daniel's Single Barrel for, that's a good price, $56 for a pick. Those are generally good. Your standard Elijah Craig and Larceny picks, you can see the prices, $75 and $85 there. These rare characters have intrigued me. I see them every time I go in, but I just don't know if these in particular. The brown bottle there, finished in maple cask at almost 121 proof, 7.5 years. That one continues to talk to me as I go in there, but $125 is a lot of money to gamble. Even though Rare Character has a great reputation, they do great things. Next shelf, there's a Westward pick. There is the Bullet Bourbon Single Barrel pick for $60. I picked this up somewhere. I don't remember if it was here or somewhere else. I liked it. I think for $60, and I believe I paid more like $55 for that somewhere else. I think it's a very tasty bottle at that price. That next thing, I'm not sure what that is. After that, you've got the Yellowstone at $65. I'm not a huge fan of Yellowstone. Makers there, which is their right selection pick, their unique recipe for $65. There's the Ezra Brooks, which you see as a pick in a lot of locations now. Next to that, you've got Peerless Single Barrel. Now that is typically found everywhere as a small batch. But here in Super Buy-Rite, here in Pennington, and maybe at other Super Buy-Rites, it's a single barrel store pick at $80. That's what I have here in front of me. We're going to taste that at the end of the video, and we're going to compare it to the regular, not single barrel, but the regular Peerless small batch. And we're going to see how the flavor varies, if it varies. Who knows? There's a George Remus for $60. I've been seeing some good things about this at the price. Even the regular George Remus at that price is good, and this is a pick. I may have to get that next time. Next to that is great. The next three there, I haven't heard anything about. I've seen that Old Potrero in various locations. There's a pick of it. I just don't know. Lastly, all the way to the right is Obtainium Light Whiskey at $85. I hear good things about their light whiskey. I have one that I haven't cracked yet. Not that one. I'll let you know when I do. Moving down, there's a Hill Rock pick, which I haven't heard anything good about. Then you see a Koval, you see the Clovers, which are interesting. They're non-chill filtered, small distillery. I just don't know. All right, next to that, you got the Balcones. I hear good things about that. There's a Texas Rye and a cask strength. Don't know those flavors. Starlight, I've heard they're okay. I'm not super interested in those at the moment. Hirsch, I've tried. I think I even have that, not that single barrel, but I do have a store pick from somewhere. I didn't pay that much for it. I always say I don't want to pick up a bottle that I haven't ever tried, and I did that with Hirsch. Again, I didn't pay $115, I paid less. It was okay. I shouldn't have done it. I should have stuck to my guns. Somehow the label on that bottle got me. Next to that is Hudson Whiskey New York. I have heard only bad things about Hudson Whiskey, so I'm definitely not going to pick that up. And then there's a gin there all the way at the end for $30. We use gin for gin and tonics during the summertime. It's not summertime, and that's not the gin we use, so I'm not picking that one up. All right, let's see what's next up. We're going to start with the interesting stuff. Usually I end with the interesting stuff. Now I'm going to start with it. Here's the locked case. These cases go right to left, so you can see some interesting stuff on that right case. The only thing I'm going to point out really is all the way down there, that Bacta. So that's the other thing I picked up. I've been talking about the Bactas that I've seen in different liquor stores. They interest me based on the marketing that I've seen. The bottles are interesting looking and some stuff I've read about them. So this is a great way to try it inexpensively, although the pack of 4 was $115, even though it's not priced there. Remember I said there's a lot not going to be priced. I'm getting 4 bottles. You'll see a video on that. They're not all bourbons. There's a bourbon, there's a rye, there's a rum, and there's an Armagnac. We'll taste them and we'll tell you how good they are. Let's just move over to the next case. Again, these shelves have pricing. You can see the Master's Keeps way over my price range for Master's Keeps, especially since recently they haven't been getting good reviews for the price, even though I love the Wild Turkey brand. Here's some of the older barrel bourbons. They may be good prices. I don't know because there's no price. Next shelf up, you've got a Willet. You can see them across there, the Shanks and the Bombergers, which are okay prices. Then you've got that Magnus. That's the cigar blend. I am interested in that. That's batch 349. I think I have another picture of that later. I don't know what the price is. I believe I asked about that, and I believe they said it was at $189 or $199. While the Joseph Bank's been getting great reviews on their cigar blend, I've heard that the more recent blends have been not as great. And this is a more recent batch, sorry, not blend, but batch. This is a more recent batch, so I didn't want to roll the dice at $200. All right. Next one, here you go. We got a closer look here. The Willet is 8 years. I don't know if that's the Willet to get, and I don't remember if I asked for the price of that or not. Again, there's the Magnus, and then if we look up there, the Old Granddad at $190. That's the lowest price I've seen, but based on the reviews, it's got to get lower. It's got to get a lot lower, actually. There's some other things that you can see there. Orphan Barrel, again, I don't know the price of it, but it is an 18-year straight bourbon, which could be interesting. Then there's 2 different Willets. I don't know anything about these Willets. The one on the left there is a rye whiskey and hop-flavored whiskey, and the one on the right, as you can see on the label, is the Wolves Rye Batch 2 for $300. Outside of my price range, but if you've had it, put a comment down there. Tell me if that's worth $300. Then you got the Knob Creek 18, which I already have. At the top, there's a Frank August. There's a couple of Woodford Reserves. The one in the middle for $200, that's the Madeira blend. That has not been getting good reviews at that price. The regular Reserve varies year to year. Generally good, though. Generally good, and generally around that 160 plus or minus range. I do have one from 2024. I like it a lot. Shout out to Bourbon Bill, by the way, who turned me on to that. Okay. Next is a 15 stars. I've seen them. I haven't tried them. I know this one, Platinum, is going to be pricey in the case. The next one there, I don't know what that is. A Bond and Lillard. I'm not sure what that is. And then after that, you got Elliott Brothers Reserve 10-year. I hear that is really good, and that is closing in on the $200 price. Again, I don't know where it is here at Super Buy-Rite. Going down, you have the Old Root number 8, which I have, is good, from Augusta. Then you have Augusta Buckner's next to that. The Old Root 8 at $115 is a good price. I think I paid $117. The Buckner's at $165 is a good price. That Town Branch True Cask I don't know about, and I don't know the price. Very Old St. Nick at $180. I haven't had one, but the reviews on that are good, but not 180. If that came down quite a bit, they would move faster. Then you got a pair of Dickles right there. A pair of Dickles. Blackened. We've got a Rabbit Hole Founders Collection. We got Remus Repeal at $110. That's a standard price. There's your 2 Bactas. And let me see if I have those in this set. I have the 2013 Bourbon. I do not have in this set the 2012. Wait, single malt? No, I don't. So, I won't be able to try that. We got the Calumets 15 and 16. They're both very good. The 15 at $135. That's a couple dollars high, maybe. Maybe it's a good price. Next to that, you got a Smoke Wagon. Tell me about that one. That's a Smoke Wagon rare and limited. Again, you can't see the price there, but if you know anything about that, let me know. It's only got 1 bottle. It's very interesting. I'd like to know about it because I am a fan of Smoke Wagon. And then lastly there at the bottom, I think I have I'll talk about that in a second. Over here, I've already talked about these. This is just a closer image. We can see the Elliott brothers. I think this is Heaven Hill from what I heard, but it's finished, as you can see, in Malbec wine casks. And that one there in the middle, Judgment and Integrity, Mutual Confidence, 100 Proof, Kentucky Straight, Bond and Lillard Bourbon. It's a beautiful label. The bottle's okay. It's a beautiful label. I just don't know anything about it. Wish I did. And again, there at the bottom, you've got a Blood Oath number 10, which I have. It's good. Do not pay secondary, and try and get it inexpensive. I don't know what they're selling it here for. I think it retailed for $130 to $150. I think the $130 is probably about as high as you want to go for that. Jefferson's there. It's a limited edition. I really didn't pay a whole lot. Look like 102 proof, 11 year. I didn't pay a whole lot of attention to that because I'm not big into Jefferson. I've just never had any Jefferson that I thought was extraordinary or even really good. And then next to that, we go into some other whiskeys. As you can see there, they've got a phenomenal selection of Japanese whiskeys. Looking across the top there, multiple varieties and ages. There's the Legent Yamazaki. I'm not a big fan of Legent, but I don't know how that partnership worked out. The middle shelf there, Hibiki. I really enjoy the Hibiki, and their price there of $100 is the going price. I've seen it as low as $90. I haven't seen anywhere the Hibiki 17 or 21, so just having it here is pretty cool. Interesting that they're both the same price, $1,000. Obviously way over my price range, but just that they have it is pretty interesting. And then they've got a $200 Hibiki. I think it's just I don't know, it's a limited edition design, so I don't think it's a different liquid. I just think it's a different bottle. I'd be curious to see what the bottle looks like. The packaging on Japanese whiskey is gorgeous. And then you can see some of these other Irish whiskeys and their prices. The Blue Spot and the Red Spot, they're aged. You can see their prices there. The Redbreast 15 looks like 120 something. And further down, you got some Crown Royals there that are aged. I enjoy Crown Royal from time to time, not enough to get into it and buy the aged stuff. Here's some more. I have a subscriber, or 2 or 3 or 4, that are interested in this other whiskey. So I'm going to show it here. I'm not an expert on it, so I can't really speak to it, but I will kind of show the case so you can see some Irish whiskeys. We saw some Japanese. Some Macallans there at the bottom. There's a 25-year, $2,500 Macallan. All right. All right, now we're getting close to the bourbon shelves. This isn't the bourbon. This is the rye section. We'll take a look at this because I do enjoy rye. That one right there. Well, let me start off at the top there because people may want to know. As you can see, the Crown Royal Blackberry is a hot item, and they're selling it for $32. I haven't tried it. I've got a blackberry liqueur from a local distillery in New Jersey that is like a blackberry gummy bear, so I've got something. I don't need Crown Royal. All right. As you can see, there's a lot missing. Again, they're just moving in. And so there's a Doc Swinson rye for $50. I've heard good things about Doc Swinson. I haven't tried any myself. If you have, leave a comment. Tell me if they're any good. Next, this Alberta Premium, which I do have. It is phenomenal. $95. That's on the high side. Ooh, I hate to spend that much on it, but it is phenomenal, and prices are going up. There's the Henry McKenna for $65. It's a shame that it's at $65. That thing used to be under $50. However, it is delicious, and I would rather it be, this is a hot take and it may be controversial, but I would rather this bottle and any bottle in this category be a little bit high and still be on the shelf than very inexpensive and you can't get it. I'd rather have the opportunity to get it or not, even if I'm going to spend an extra $10 up to $20. Next to that, you got the Willet Green Top at $55. That's the best price I've ever seen it. I've seen it as high as into the 70s. It's $55. If I didn't have it already, I would definitely have scooped it up. And next to that, you got the Old Overholt 4-year for $20. Old Overholt is great. $20 is a great price. Down here, you got the Bird Gang. So this liquor store is in New Jersey, literally 10 minutes from Pennsylvania. Tomorrow is the Super Bowl and the Eagles are in it. That is an Eagles branded rye whiskey. Next to that, Super Chief. I don't know what that is. If you've heard about it, let me know. The rest of those moving to the right, I don't know. If you've heard about it, let me know. Castle and Key, I've heard about, I just don't know. And then Pikesville there for $47. Pikesville is an outstanding rye, and even if you're not into rye, that is a great rye. It's got less of a spicy profile, more of a sweet profile, and $47, that's a great price. If you're not into rye but you'd like to try it, I recommend that or Michter's rye straight off the shelf. Those two are great to get into rye whiskey. Let's go to the next shelf. I don't recognize anything on that shelf. I can't speak to it, but there it is. And the bottom shelf is your bottom shelfers. We're not going to get into that. Next shelf, let's start on the top. You got a couple of 2XOs at $100, Tribute Blend and Phoenix Blend. There's some more 15 stars, $80 to $160. There's a wooden, that's the Woodinville Applewood, which I got from a different Buy-Rite grand opening at around $50. Right now it's going for $100. Lucky 7 I hear is good. There's 2 more Bactas. All right, we're getting some Bacta. I'm seeing Bacta everywhere, so I really got to get into that. Cream of Kentucky, good brand. Depending on the bottle you get, and then you can see a barrel dovetail there for $80, and then there's more barrel on that shelf we'll get into. There's your usual suspects for Angel's Envy. The Triple Oak there for $69, say $70 is a great price. I got it for $75. That's a great price. It's a very particular flavor profile. It's polarizing. I've heard people say they don't really enjoy it at all, and I've heard people say it's one of the best releases of 2024. There's some blue notes there. They don't have the juke joint on the shelf, which is probably their best one to get into. Next to that, you've got the Chicken Cock, and you've got some more Dick Swensons. Next shelf, we're getting into our Wild Turkey stuff. The 10-year in there, I looked for the LLME. I think they're all gone. Wild Turkey actually did come out and say there's something special that was in that particular batch that is unique, and they're pretty much gone now. So I haven't stopped looking for the labels, but I've stopped looking for it in big liquor stores. I only look for it in older liquor stores that maybe aren't selling it as fast, might have it left. All right, so at the right-hand side, we're starting with the Russell's Single Barrel Rye. Then we go to the Russell's 10-year small batch. After that, another Russell's Single Barrel Regular Bourbon for $60. Long Branch at $41. I see that at $37 to $39.99. Then you've got the Rare Breed. I've seen that under $75. It's expensive. What's missing there is the regular Rare Breed at $60 in Pennsylvania. It's every day for $50. And then here's your regular Wild Turkey suspects. If you want to see any of these prices slower, just pause your video and take a look. You can actually zoom in on YouTube if you're on a tablet or a phone. So there's some bullets. There's again the Bullet Single Barrel for $57 with delicious redemptions. Next shelf down, Bowman Brothers, which is a decent bottle. I see that more regularly at $32.99. Then we're getting to the Benchmarks, which is your entry-level, easier to find Buffalo Trace. On this shelf, you can see they've got the top floor, the full proof, and the single barrel. I think if you're into whiskey, but you've never had, I would recommend either the single barrel or the full proof. If you're not a whiskey person, I would recommend the top floor. They also have a bottle and bond. Really the whole Benchmark lineup, except for the Benchmark 8, I would recommend. Sazerac you've got for $40. That's high. I'd like to see that under $30. You've got the handle of it for $55. That may be a good price for the handle. The 1792s, if you're into that, full proof, bottle and bond and small batch, right there. What I am waiting for that I want to get is the 12-year and the sweet wheat. And I don't know what that label is. That might be one of them at $75. There's your bottom shelfers. There's also, looks like, some backups from some shelves above. Let's look at the next shelf. Now we're back onto our barrels. You can see them across the top, including several store picks. The store picks and the orange labels, you can see some yellow labels, some blue labels, some orange labels. I hear they're the best store picks. Kind of looks like they're also the most expensive. You've got a Booker's there. That's okay. I have a Booker's. I don't buy all the Booker's. I have one. I don't get another one until that one's done, so I may skip some batches. There's a Pritchard's, which looks like it's $95. If you've heard about that, let me know. I was looking at that. It's a double barrel, which is obviously very interesting. Those are typically delicious. But I don't know Pritchard, so it might not be. And then there's your regular Joseph A. Magnus at $80, which is a really good price for that. That's the sherry finish. Moving down a shelf, you got the old Ezra Bourbon and Rye. $85 is quite a bit. Knob Creek Maple. My buddy Ian just gave me that over the holidays. I haven't cracked it yet. That's probably going to be delicious because I like a sweeter profile. There's more Knob Creeks. There's a Rocktown. Let's go down. There's the Basil Hayden's, which I sometimes order at a restaurant if they don't have anything better. You got a Clyde Mays. Moving across, you got Horse Soldier. I'd like to try a Horse Soldier, and I'd like to try a Garrison Brothers. I just don't know which is the best one to get. They have a lot of varieties of them, and I don't mind spending money and getting the more expensive one if it's a good one. But I know some of them aren't my flavor profile, so I don't want to experiment. Okay, going to the bottom shelf. Going down to the bottom shelf, you've got the Makers, and you've got a cask strength there for $38. That may not be the right price there. If it is, that's a phenomenal price for that Makers cask strength. Next to that, you got the Beam 7, which got a lot of press at being a tasty product at a low price. And all the way to the end, you've got the Beam Winter Reserve, which is also at a lower price. I think it's a little bit higher than a 7-year. We don't know what they're charging. Again, no price there. But it's in that $30, maybe under $30 mark. We go down. We see, again, the rest of the Jim Beam. There's an Uncle Nearest. All the way at the bottom, the only thing that interests me down there, and it looks like some of that is backup product to the upper shelves, is the Bardstown. The white label there at $43, I actually picked up at another location, and it's the white label I picked up at another location. It's 96 proof. It was rated 98 out of 100 points somewhere, and it was called the best everyday bourbon on the market. I picked it up. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Next to that is essentially the same thing, Bottle and Bond, so it takes it up to 100 proof. And then next to that is the rye version, which I didn't pick up, which I want to pick up. I actually want to pick up both the Bottle and Bond and the rye. All right, next, let's start at the top. The Kentucky Owl, that green label, their St. Patrick's, it wasn't priced. Back when they were at the old building, it was priced at $70, which is the cheapest price for that by about $40 than I've seen everywhere else. Now, Kentucky Owl, from what I understand, declared bankruptcy, and I don't know if they're going to come out of it or not, but the product is being discounted, but it's good product, so I would like to try some, but it's always been overpriced. But now at that lower price, I would pick it up. It wasn't priced, so I didn't pick it up, but I'll be back. Then you've got your Peerless, the regular suspects, the double barrel rye, the double barrel bourbon, and the high rye bourbon. I have all of those. Peerless is reliable to be delicious. That's a brand that you can almost buy everything that they put out because they're so reliable at putting out good product. Okay, next to that, you got Peg Leg Porker. 8 years. Then you got a 12-year. You got a couple of Dickles. And then we move down. The Dickel 8-year at $30. I've seen it $1 or $2 cheaper. There's more Starlight. Then you've got your Michter's. Again, as I said earlier, that Michter Straight Rye is a fantastic rye. in its own right. I'd love to just pour a glass and sip it. If you're rye curious, that's a great bottle to start off with. Sound and Field I've seen from time to time and haven't tasted it. Eric LeGrand, I've threatened to buy that. It's $40. I love the story behind Eric LeGrand, but haven't tried it. And the reviews are consistent with a $40 bottle. I just really like to buy something that gets great reviews for the price because there's just so much out there. Going down, you've got the Elijah Craig Suspects. Right here in the middle, you can see you've got your barrel proof for $80. You've got your toasted rye for $60. That's getting great reviews. Heaven Hill, no price. There's some Larcenies. Larceny barrel proof, cask strength. What are they calling it? Can't see it from here, but it's not priced. The next shelf is a shelf of products that I'm not interested in. Jefferson's and Hill Rock. Below that, Evan Williams Bottle and Bond for $21. That's way too high. That's got to go for $17.99 or less. Four Roses, nothing special at Super Buy-Rite around Four Roses, which is interesting. Hopefully they get some stuff in. There's your bottom shelfers. All right, next shelf, we're going to start at the top. There's your Old Elk variety of things up there from, looks like $85 to $105. Sorry, $130. That's for this special one here at the end. And my picture's not good enough to see what that is. Okay, next shelf down is some usual suspects with your rabbit holes. The Derringer is tasty, I have that. The Old Forester Rye is a great rye for mixing at $28. You can see the stuff going across. Widow Jane 10-year at $70. Not a huge fan of the 10-year. I like their decadence and so on, but not a huge fan of the 10-year. Moving down, this is a great shelf here. You've got a bunch of Penelopes there. We're going to get a closer look. The Wheated has got good reviews. The Valencia has got good reviews. Valencia, you might think it's super orange. It's a slight hint of orange. So it's not at all super, super orange. It's a bourbon with a hint of orange. Next to that, you've got their Estate Collection, the 9-year. It is delicious. I'm trying to find the 10-year. They have a 10-year Estate Collection. I'm trying to find that one. But this one at $80, totally worth it. Next to that, looks like they got a leftover Christmas set, Jack Daniel's single barrel and a glass. For $53, that's actually a good price as a gift set with the glass if you need a glass. Next to that, you got some Heaven's Door. This one here, all the way to the left, is a 10-year. That I want to pick up at $80. That's normally $100. Super Buy-Rite's got a great price on that. If you've watched my previous videos, you know I got turned on to that by my uncle. We had the regular and we had the cask strength, and I want to try the 10-year. It's got to be even better, right? I mean, it's got to be. Okay. Then there's your Jack Daniels. There's your Woodfords. The Double Oak is $60. That's a good price. Moving down, there's some more Jack Daniels. There's another Hudson whiskey, which I'm going to stay away from. There's a couple of Nulus. I hope they get in some more Nulus because Nulu does some really interesting finishes, peach and different things, and they do experimental finishes, and I'd like to see them get some of that in. Then that bottle that has the 93 on it right there, that's Navigation for $40. Apparently it's got a good score. I don't know what it is, so I can't help you there. There's where we're focusing on the Penelope. As I said, Super Buy-Rite has their pick for $64.99, which is the exact same price as the shelf for $64.99, so the pick is a good price. Again, here you've got your 9-year, you've got your Valencia, and you've got your Wheated 4-grain, all of which is getting good reviews. This is a brand that MGP bought. Penelope used to buy their product from MGP to make their bourbons and ryes, etc. And so MGP just bought them to have a facing brand themselves. So now it's the same, maybe better, but it's the same. It's just owned by one company instead of two different companies. All right, next you can see here a loaded top shelf, loaded with two brands here. Pinhook, you can see the variety of them going across. Anywhere from, I see a $50 bottle up to an $85 bottle. And then you see your smoke wagons there. Variety of smoke wagons, and it looks like that is the uncut unfiltered for $70. That's an okay price. That has gone up. I got my bottle for $63 from Wegmans almost a year ago. Next shelf down, we've got Bibb and Tucker moving right across. These are the new Redwood Empires that are getting really good reviews from, looks like $80 to $95. That one right here that I put in the middle, the Screaming Titan for $95, is getting really good reviews. Not stratospheric reviews, so the $95 feels like a little bit high, but there you have it. Next to that, you've got a Cast Strength Lost Monarch, which I have, and the usual suspects there going across the top. Moving down, there's another expression of Obtainium Light Whiskey at $85. Fox and Odin. That's the Hirsch that I regret getting. H.K. Young. Johnny Drum at $40. That's about the price going for it. That is an underrated bottle for the price. Old Bardstown is an underrated bottle for the price. The Rowans and the Noah's Mill, those are Willet products. I have the Rowans. It's okay. It's okay. And at $43, that's probably where it should be. All right, moving down, there is a metric ton of High West stuff. I hear the cask strength stuff is fantastic. I didn't have room in my budget to pick up any of these, but I want to try one of their cask strengths. I hear it's really good. There's some Blue Runs. You don't normally see them on the shelf. Those two are high. Those are high for Blue Runs. So there's a rye there. Yeah, those are kind of high. Going down to the next shelf, Wheel Horse. I'm a fan of Wheel Horse. That Wheel Horse for $30, the 101 there to the left, that's a good bourbon for $30. A very good bourbon for $30. You can see there's a couple of Wheel Horses there that scored 94 points that aren't there right now. I know the 101 also scored very well. There's some other versions. And then you get your Old Granddad at $19. I don't know how much the Bottle and Bond is. The Old Granddad 114 at $29.99. Phenomenal purchase. That is a good bourbon straight up. And at $30, oh my God. All right, and then we'll get to this bottom shelf. Two things on the bottom shelf. There's your Green Rivers. Any one of those you're going to be happy with. They're going to be between $30 and $40, any of them. I recommend if you're into bourbon, get the full proof. If you're not, either get the straight or the wheated. Get them. Next, we're going to dial in. Again, we already looked at this, but there's a closer view of these Redwood Empires. There's a closer view. It is an uncut, unfiltered at $70. That's an okay price. I would say that's an okay price because I can't find it at $62.99 anymore. And then this is, you can see my question marks here. This is a brand I've never heard of before. And here it is. And this is a rye. I don't know how to pronounce that. It looks like Polika Baruque. Oh man, I just butchered it. Never mind. Forget I said anything. So I don't know what that is. That's a straight rye. That's a straight rye. Two different proofs. Here's a 92.6. Here's a 108. Here's another straight rye at 90.8. Has anybody heard of Coalition? If you have, let me know. I'm interested because they've got a variety of that stuff, and I'm curious. And I think that takes us to the end. It does take us to the end. So that's Super Buy-Rite in Pennington, New Jersey, right over the bridge from PA. I'm going to have to visit them again because, as you saw very clearly, they don't have all their shelves filled, and it looks like they've got plenty of space for a lot of bourbons and some ryes, and I'm excited to see what they bring in. I'm going to have to go back. Now let's get into tasting some stuff here. I'm going to get my tablet out of the way so that we can get here. I'm going to get this box out of the way because I'm going to do a whole video just on that. And let's bring in, this is the Peerless store pick. And this is the Peerless small batch. that you can get more readily. This is the Buy-Rite version. So let's get into this real quick and then we'll complete the video. We've got the Bourbon Table hat. Okay, we've got that in there thanks to Laura, holiday present. We've got the Bourbon Table glass thanks to Carla, holiday present. All right, let's try the small batch. This has been sitting for about 30 minutes. So let's see. Ooh, that smells so sweet. Sweet, light. Wow, very delicious. I'm getting oak now. As far as the smell goes, I enjoy smelling whiskey, I think, as much as I enjoy drinking it. So I'll not only smell it at the start of my drinking, I'll smell it as I'm sipping it throughout the entire drink. Man, maybe even a little bit of, just a hair of fresh citrus. All right. Oh man, this is why Peerless is reliable. I mean, this is a small batch, retails for about 80 bucks. Totally worth it. If you said that this was the only bourbon I could drink the rest of my life, I would hate it, but I'd be cool that this is the one I'm drinking. The nose carries over right to the bourbon, so real quick, it is that sweet. It's got that oak. It's nothing offensive. Easy sipper. In fact, they call it strictly sweet mash. Oh, and it's barrel proof and it's non-chilled filter, which is no surprise. And the proof on it is 110, 55.5% ABV. It does not drink that high. Man, this is more like around 100 proof. So good. Okay, now we've got the store pick. This is a single barrel store pick, 112 proof, so it's 2 proof points higher. But it's the same product. It's just a single barrel version of this, non-chill filter, sweet mash, barrel proof, no water added. So let's see how this barrel, chosen by Super Buy-Rite, differs from the regular small batch. Interesting. So on the nose, it's very similar. Maybe a little more. You know what? On the nose is a little more car tire, if that makes any sense. A little more of that rubber, which I like. It's not a bad thing. Oak in there, a little less sweet, a little more car tire. Okay. All right, definitely a single barrel. It drinks a higher proof, more oakiness to it. It's a fuller flavor. It is a bigger experience. A little bit less sweet, a little bit more oak, but fuller. Not too much oak. Man, both of those are delicious for two different reasons. The small batch, a little bit sweeter, a little bit easier to sip. The single barrel, more full, more oak, less sweet. I love that rubber tire scent. Both $80. So, you know, and both different enough to have them both. In other words, this does one thing really well, And even though this is the same mash bill, it's distilled the same and the same, it's a single barrel. This particular barrel has a very different flavor profile. So I'm happy to have both. Sometimes, if they're too similar, I got essentially two of the same. But this is a case, and again, with Peerless, you're just not going to go wrong. I hope they keep that up. I don't want them to, to come out with something bad and prove me wrong, but I don't think they are. They haven't yet. It's a smaller distillery. If you see Peerless, you can't go wrong with it. And at $80, it's worth $80. $80 is not a low price for 750 milliliters, but they're worth it. I'd rather pay $80 for a Peerless than $40 for something else. That's all I got for you. Make sure to subscribe. Make sure to leave comments. Tell me what's going on. Do you like the hat? Leave some kind of comment. What do you think of this shirt? I don't know, something. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe. Thank you so much. Look out for the Bacta review coming soon. Now I'm going to finish this stuff up.